2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. Have you ever had a teacher who sits in the back of the classroom and doesn't do anything, does the bare minimum while her kids talk and mess around? And have you had that teacher who's very dedicated to her students and does anything they can to watch her students succeed? Now put those teachers together and realize that they make the exact same amount of money. Maybe the one that sits in the back does the bare minimum makes higher amount of money, but it's not very big at all. It's very small. Because of the lack of pay teachers have here in America, it is becoming harder and harder to find teachers who are passionate about their jobs. Everyone needs to understand the true importance of education and realize that teachers really should be paid equivalent to doctors. So I'm going to talk about 3 points. I'm going to talk about the power of education and the importance of it, the difference between a very poor teacher and a very passionate teacher, and then I'm going to try and make a solution on how we can fix this issue. Alright, so education is getting more and more important in today's generation. Because of the lack of pay, it really is harder to find a teacher, and it's not very important to teachers anymore. According to laws.com, it stated that America is losing sight of the true importance of education because of the teacher salary. So because of this issue, kids aren't receiving their GEDs and they're not receiving college degrees, which is having an effect on the economy. According to the Institution of Education Science, they're saying that because people don't have their GEDs or college degrees, they can't run these big corporate companies anymore. So how is that really going to have an impact on the economy? We're having an effect on the family. Because people aren't getting educated, they're not making very much money, and that's having an impact on the families in a negative way. They can't support their families, and sometimes they end up homeless. They're really having an unsuccessful future, and that's not only is it causing an effect on their family, but it is on themselves, and their self-esteem is getting lower, and that's having, they're gaining behavioral issues because of this. Teachers have a huge influence on these students. They motivate them every day. They let kids spend 7 hours a day, 35 hours a week with these teachers. These teachers need to be able to motivate them and push them toward a college education. Teachers are teaching this useful information, and without this information, what are kids doing these days? Teachers can really either make or break the student. If teachers aren't motivated to be at school and working hard to educate these students, what are the students actually getting out of education? According to the NSF.gov, teachers are becoming harder to find because of the lack of pay. So who's in our schools? Poor teachers that aren't teaching. So what are the kids learning? Are these kids learning, the bare minimum, or are they learning how to cheat on their tests? And then you have the passionate teachers who actually want to be there, and they deserve more, but in reality, since they are not getting enough pay, they're starting not to care because no one really cares about them. So a little bit of background on how teachers can become teachers. They can either get a degree, which is what I'm doing. I'm getting my degree in elementary school education, or they can go an alternative route, like my husband, and he gets his ARL degree, or his ARL letter. Pretty much it's a letter from the state stating that he can teach based on what he's experienced in. So it's not very hard to get qualified as a teacher. Some might say that teachers are babysitters, and people don't care about teachers because they don't get paid very much and they're not very qualified. So what could be a solution to make these teachers happy and to make these students more passionate about education? The Huffington Post is saying that in certain countries, teachers are getting paid equivalent to doctors. Because of this, it is harder to become a teacher. They have to get more education, they're in school longer, and that means they're highly qualified and they actually are passionate and want to teach. By having a qualified teacher, students will receive a better education, and teachers will receive more support from the society, from parents, and be more respected. And students will be succeeding more if they have a passionate teacher who's passionate about them. Here in America, we're losing sight of education, the true importance of education. This is due to the teacher salaries. By increasing teachers' pay and treating education as it should be, Teachers should get paid similar to what doctors are, because doctors wouldn't be where they are today without their teachers. Teachers are actually teaching the future generation. Teaching should be one of the most important jobs on the planet.
Woo!
Thank you all. Make sure.
Take her lunch back.